Hello and welcome to the Low-Code Café. This is episode number 197 for May 27, 2026. Today we'll be talking about Bootstrap 3 removal and whether or not your app is ready, and also our health check dashboard helping you to understand if your app is ready. I am Dale Warner, head of support for Plantain App, and this is an event that we do every month, typically the last Wednesday of every month, where we do a hands-on demonstration of things that are happening with Plantain App. We do updates and demonstrations and tell you about changes in the works. We record all of these and put them on YouTube, so you can get to that youtube.com/plantainapp, and there's a playlist there of all of our past episodes, plus the Low-Code Campfire, which we do on Fridays. Today, I'll be speaking briefly about some from the trenches of support, some of the things that are going on with support, and then we'll spend the bulk of our time doing hands-on low coding. I do encourage you, though, if you want to chat with us, you can use the chat window or the question and answer, or raise your hand. You can talk. And when it's all over with, there's a feedback form, and if you would access that feedback form, let us know what you thought and what we could do differently. We would be appreciate the opportunity to get better at doing what we do. The Low-Code Cafe is, as I mentioned, usually presented the last Wednesday of each month, and the next live webinar is scheduled for June 24. So, from the trenches of support, the current versions that we have, version 1.27 was released on June 16, so we're coming up on our standard support policy is to support for 1 year, and so if you're on version 1.27 or earlier, you should be making plans to get to version 1.28. 128 was released in January, and so our standard support window will extend to January as well. When we get to do together, we typically look at we have a system that's at version 1.28, and typically we look at the hot fixes, and this is kind of important relative to today's topic because I'm going to be showing you the dashboard new feature that we're adding, and I want to demonstrate that to you how you get it. So so applying hotfixes, the updates tab will show you the current versions, an overview of what you have installed, and our cumulative hotfixes. That's where we're interested in going today. The last time that we installed hotfixes was the last time was the last time we got together a month ago. So we can look at each individual cumulative hotfix. We could dig in and see the details, but I reviewed these a few minutes ago. A lot of these things that are going on, these cumulative hotfixes have to do with particular support requests that came in. So if you've been alerted that something that you had reported and needed fixing, I've typically let you know that those things are there. A couple of things I'll call out that are useful to know. We have an IMAP trigger improvement. So if you are using automation to read an IMAP email, there was previous versions might get overwhelmed if that mailbox received a lot of emails all at once, and so we've improved the reliability of that. Even if there's lots and lots of emails that come in at once, they'll still get triggered on all of them. We have clients that have been waiting for something called virtual path. Let's see if it's if you're trying to upgrade your site and you're using the virtual path feature of I don't know if this is IIS or DNN, but regardless, using the virtual path feature, I think it's an IIS feature that this was blocking you. So now we've got that fixed as well. So lots of little things in there, but the one that I wanted to call out mainly today is this major platform enhancements, including a health check alerts dashboard. So when we install this, we're going to get that. I'm going to install the most recent one. It's going to give us all the prior ones as well. So when you do the install process, it's telling you all the different things that will be there. I see there's 40 different things that were listed, and you could investigate one by one what's being installed for you. But I am going to install all of these. Now, before we got together today, I did a backup, so I'm going to confirm that I did that, and then I also it doesn't. I understand that they're going to be locked out. Any users of the system are going to be locked out. So we acknowledge those two things, and then let this upgrade start. We will, I think we'll probably come back to this one in a minute. It's going to take a couple of minutes to do that. So I'm going to set it aside and we'll go on a little bit. We'll come back to it in just a second. So that's version 1.28. Let's move on. I mentioned earlier that we do another event, and it's happens almost every week. It's Fridays, this same hour. We call it the Low-Code Campfire, and that's where we get together, and it's more of a conversation, not this presentation style that you're seeing today. We talk about what's going on with Plant an App and your projects, any challenges that you're facing. So if you haven't participated in that, we encourage you to join us. We have some links, and I'm going to put these all on. We copy and paste these, put them on the chat. So if you look in your chat, they will be there. But this includes things like the ability to register in advance for the Low-Code Campfire, getting to our recordings on YouTube, the community portal, which is a great place to go to get your questions answered, not just by our support team, but by the community as a whole. And then that webinar feedback form that I mentioned, that if you want to give any feedback about this event, you're welcome to fill in that form. Then there's two links that are particular to this episode, so both pointing to our documentation, learn.planetapp.com. We're going to be talking a lot about Bootstrap 3 conversion, or converting from Bootstrap 3 to Bootstrap 5. And then also we'll be talking about our dashboard. So you can use those links to get right to that spot within our dashboard, within our documentation. All right, so here we go. We'll dive into the hands-on low coding and Bootstrap 3 removal. We are in the process internally of going to the next major Plant an App release. We expect that to be happening sometime in July or August. And at that, as part of this release, we're planning to remove all support for Bootstrap 3. Okay, I'm going to take a quick detour here and bring back the system that I was just talking about a minute ago, so that we completed the update. The cumulative updates now is cleared and everything's installed. And notice that now this first option says dashboard. We're going to be covering this in depth today, but this is the first thing when you, starting from this point forward, when you browse to the configuration page, you're going to get the dashboard, and it's going to be a nice indication of things that are going on your system, nice color coded. And again, we'll dive into this in depth and what you can do with it. But this is a nice enhancement that's going to tell you, at first, we're using this to health check kinds of things on your system. And so, like I say, we'll dive into this in a few minutes. But when you upgrade, you'll get this automatically. And then these alerts that are here will, and from time to time, when you apply hotfixes or upgrades from us, these alerts will be expanded or removed depending on versions. So let me put this back out of the way. All right, so back on to our hands-on low coding discussion. Because we'll be removing support for Bootstrap 3, you need to start thinking about whether or not your app is ready, and then understanding how to use the new health check dashboard to be able to take advantage of that. So why it matters? Bootstrap 3 is being removed. It's the lots of the things that we have in our product rely on Bootstrap 3. So things like forms and listings and tabs. And when that goes away, if you're still using Bootstrap 3, you're going to see a change in behavior of your forms. If you can even upgrade to it, I think we're going to try to prevent you from upgrading until you've resolved these issues. Bootstrap 3 is an external library, and it was so not from Plant and App. It's a framework to be able to display things on your browser. It was released in 2013, and it reached its end of life in 2019. Nobody's maintaining it anymore. If you're interested in history, you can look that up on a Google search or something like that. You can get the history, but hasn't been modified in 7 years, so it's definitely out of date. In the meantime, and so there aren't any security updates, and depending on for certain enterprise customers that are having to deal with security testing, they'll show this Bootstrap 3 will show up on security tests as an open item, something that they would like to see resolved. So um, it's a problem in all this time. So I mean, we've released support for Bootstrap 5. We've been providing support for both, and this it's time for us to remove our support for Bootstrap 3 and lets us not have to maintain things that are out of date and trying to keep it up and functional. So we are moving forward to Bootstrap 5. This is more than cosmetic. It's the current. It is a current library that's supported and secure and helps us become more sustainable. So that's why we're doing it. If you're a newer client to Plant an App in these last few years and started doing development, you may not have any Bootstrap 3 items on your system. But if you came from an older, either our previous our modules that were released in under the DNN Sharp label. So if you bought Action Form or Action Grid or Tabs Pro, or if you've been on Plant and App for a long time, anything before version 118, I believe, of Plant and App was guaranteed to be Bootstrap 3. That was the only format that, or the primary format that we supported. So you might this might affect you or might not, depending on how long you've been with Plant and App. But part of what's going to happen next, you need to identify what Bootstrap 3 content that you have, and if you're on any recent version of Plant and App, you can start the remediation efforts now, and then when you get to whatever our next version beyond 1.28 is, you'll be ready for that. So remediation takes a little bit of planning. It'll have to happen before you upgrade to this next version. And I'm referring it to the next version internally. We're having a discussion about what we'll be calling the next version, whether it's 1.29 or something else. We're considering other version numbering for it. But you're going to have to upgrade before that, and rather remediate, get rid of Bootstrap 3 before that happens. And if you put it off to the last minute, all the work will still remain for you. So I suggest it's something that you put on your radar and start working on, and don't do it last minute. So Bootstrap 3 can impact forms, listings, tabs, but also if you happen to use our guides feature, the search feature, or the menus, NavXP, that they can be present in any of those things, and we're removing it from all of them. But there are replacements, easy replacements in Bootstrap 5 for all of it. So the the fact that it's been deprecated, I mean, we've been referring to it as deprecated for several years. That's your warning that it's on its way out. And so this is now is the time. what's going to happen. Uh, Unsupported pages, if you were able to update to um, version, whatever the next version is, 1.29, let's say, you're going to see some things break and it'll need to be fixed. So again, do this work in ahead of time. You'll be all set. So layouts can break completely, styling can disappear, pages could become unusable, and some things, some formatting, if you've done some advanced things to format, may no longer work. I'm going to try and give you an idea of what this looks like. I have a form here and a page. This is a typical Bootstrap 3 page. It's just a contact form. Doesn't really matter what we have here, but um, the let's just kind of look at behind the scenes. This page setup, if we look at advanced appearance, we see that I've chosen the aperture theme, which is just one that ships with DNN, I believe DNN 10. Um, so it's just a standard theme, and if we put the form into edit mode, and or rather put the page into edit mode, um, I've hit a zoom thing here. the the zoom thing looks very much like the DNN thing, so that's unfortunate. It's not letting me move it. So let's adapt. All right, so we'll put the page into edit mode, edit the form in full screen, showing the setup. This is set to as a template Bootstrap 3 obsolete. So when we're looking at the form, um, in this case, there's nothing special about Aperture, and it does not provide Bootstrap 3 for us. Rather, Plantain app, the form settings, provides Bootstrap 3 through this setting down here. Turn this option, and we have the ability to get rid of Bootstrap 3 for performance reasons. So I'm going to turn that off and just illustrate that once we do this, the form completely breaks visually. I think it would probably still work, but completely breaks. So now this kind of raises the, so I think that illustrates what's going to happen, why we need to convert, why you're going to need to put some effort in to make this be Bootstrap 5. I'm going to give you the quick overview of how to change a form to Bootstrap 5. So it's a two-piece puzzle. If we go into the page settings, advanced advanced appearance, you'll need to pick a theme that has Bootstrap 5 that's included as part of it. In this case, we ship a theme called Page Builder, and there is a layout called Default BS5. There's several of these that have a BS5 mark on them as part of the name. And if you do that, the theme provides the loading of Bootstrap 5 for you. The other half of the puzzle is that the various modules on the page need to be set to Bootstrap 5 as the template, or otherwise converted to Bootstrap 5. The listings have a little bit different procedure, but either way, they want to go to Bootstrap 5. Once you do that, if you have a Bootstrap 5 theme and a Bootstrap 5 setting on your modules, that goes back to rendering well. So that's kind of the quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today. All right, so we've seen Bootstrap 3 goes away, things break if you're using it. So the conversion is detailed work, but it's very manageable. Any forms or templates, the different modules that use that have to be changed to the Bootstrap 5 options. the theme has to support Bootstrap 5, and typically migration is done page by page. We have no support for having some modules on a page be Bootstrap 3 and some being Bootstrap 5. The entire page has to change, but uh, so typically you can think about your migration efforts as going page by page and making this change. You can convert one page, verify that it's doing what you want it to do, and then move on. So this could be a very slow conversion over time. You could do it as intensely as you want to, but it could be slow and methodical. Um, so as you saw, there's all these changes typically are configuration driven. There's not, unless you've done advanced JavaScript kinds of things on your pages, most things you can just change a couple of configuration settings, take a review and make sure that, and test and make sure that things work. And so you validate them and then you move on. All right, so now let's figure out how we know how big a problem we have with in your site with Bootstrap 3. The health check dashboard is going to help you identify that. Um, we've, as you saw moments ago, it's easy to install just by getting to version 1.28 and installing the cumulative hotfixes. It will appear. Uh, Originally, I mean, our design here is all about upgrade readiness, making sure that we're raising alerts, letting you know the things that need to happen. But it's not only for that, and you'll see us using the alert dashboard for more than that over time. Um, so it's going to provide you these prioritized alerts and guidance. Let's take a look at what the kinds of things you're going to see. There are different alert levels, and so there's 3 different levels: warning, medium, critical, and we're just kind of arbitrarily assigning these different alerts to categories to help you understand what things are you should know about versus what things must be fixed immediately. And then a green status, which will be there aren't any active alerts. We also have exceptions and things that are closed. So let's take a look at this dashboard. Um, it is already installed on this system. So if I go to configuration, we're going to get to the dashboard. And this system is quite small and quite simple. So uh, when we get to the dashboard, there's only a few things that are showing up here. But so we have the name of the alert and the status of the alert. So this one, SQL user has necessary rights. It's showing up all as green. It's not an issue. As compared to a database compatibility level, there's a warning associated with this. We might have time to dig into that here in a little while, but we have these 3 alerts that have to do with things that are obsolete. So we have Bootstrap 3 forms present in our system. We have 2 of those. We have 1 Bootstrap 3 tab, 1 Bootstrap 3 listing, and those need to be addressed. Before we go on from that, I just want to explain some of these other columns. You might evaluate something to be not important in your environment. And so there's the ability to have control and call that an exception. And so we might consider this, we will end up considering this database compatibility level an exception. So that'll turn all of these green and 0, and it'll show up here as an exception. So you get to weigh in on whether or not you think something is important in your environment, but we're doing our best to bring it to your attention. And then once something is resolved, so if we fix these alerts here on Bootstrap 3 issues, they'll show up in the closed column. Um, there is this button to the right with this recycle button. It's a recount. And so notice right now we have this Obsolete Bootstrap 3 forms. The count is 2. Um, these counts are done typically once per day, automatically and behind the scenes. We don't do them continually to try and we don't want to add performance issues on your system, but you can cause a recount at any time. So if I hit the recount button on this, notice this drops from 2 to 1. It's because I just converted that form. I was demonstrating a minute ago. It was being counted as a Bootstrap 3 form, and now it's been updated and to Bootstrap 5, so it's no longer offending this particular alert. So you can refresh at any time, just clicking the buttons. And in fact, we have a plan to add in a later release. You'll see there'll be a refresh all button appearing somewhere up here so that you can just get all the alerts to recompute for you. All right, let's see what else we have. So I've explained these severity levels and the different columns. Um, Upgrade timing. Um, so this Bootstrap 3 will not affect version 1.28. It will not. You'll start seeing these kinds of warnings and things that you need to fix. But so you can run version 1.28 and keep Bootstrap 3 things going throughout. It will not be affected. It's going to be the next major releases where the Bootstrap 3 goes away. And again, we expect that sometime in July or August. And start now. Um, So let's kind of dig into the dashboard a little bit more and see what, explain how to work with it and what you can do with it. We're trying to make this be as useful as possible. So you know where it is, it's in configuration. The alerts identify which modules are affected, and the counts show how many of those there are. But there's details behind it, so let's walk through those. If you click on any of these items that have numbers on it, like I'm going to click directly on this, that there's one Bootstrap 3 form medium alert. When I click on it, you'll get a pop-up that explains exactly what the issue is. So this is telling you that you need to migrate the form to Bootstrap 5 before upgrading to our next version. In the details, it's going to tell you exactly where it is. The name of it is Overview Form. It appears on the My Users page, and it's in the footer pane. It's telling you exactly where to find this module so that you can go and fix it. The Resolve button will give you even more detail. So it's telling you that Bootstrap 3 is obsolete and will not be available in the next version. And it's telling you that it needs to migrate to Bootstrap 5, and if you it's providing a link to our documentation page, which if you click that, this will tell you the full topic in detail. So we're trying to get you right to the information that you need. And then finally, this resolve issue button is going to take you to the place that makes the most sense for the alert that you're working with. So in the case of a Bootstrap 3 form alert, when you click resolve issue, it opens the administration page for the overview form on whatever page, wherever that exists. And sure enough, if we look at the settings, we can see that this is not using Bootstrap 5. For Bootstrap 3 resolution, uh, it's you could just start and change this to Bootstrap 5. But from a kind of a more holistic way to look at this, I would recommend when you back out of a form builder, it takes you to the page that is where that form appears. And so this is kind of one way to navigate to this page. So we can see that from a big picture, it's not just one form. We have a form here, we have a tab, and we have a grid, and all of these are actually using Bootstrap 3. Remember, I said Bootstrap, a whole page is either one or the other, so the whole page is Bootstrap 3. So really, we need to think about this whole page, getting it flipped over to Bootstrap 5. Yeah, let's see what's next. Trying to keep pace with my um, so we covered alerts are identifying these specific forms and pages that are impacted. It'll tell you as much details as it can. You can get to the documentation and you can get to the editors. Um, so the dashboard is telling you exactly what page where it exists, and that there could be multiple Bootstrap 3 components on the page. That's very typical, and you should take a look at the page, visually take a look at the page and understand what you're getting into. So I'm gonna, before I go into this next topic, let's actually work on, mitigating this again. Um, but we have three different things on here, a form, a listing, and a tab, and we want to fix all of them. The steps to do that are, again, that you need to go to your page settings, and in advanced appearance, you need to pick your whatever theme that provides Bootstrap 5. Now, your system will definitely have page builder. I don't know if that's the look of the theme that, if that's what you're using, then you're good to go. If you have a custom theme, or if you've purchased a theme on the DNN store, you'll need to make sure that that has provided Bootstrap 5 for you to use. But uh, it, when uh, whichever you're using, so long as it provides Bootstrap 5 accurately, you just pick the theme and the container, um, the layout, the container that has it, and save. And that provide now the theme is set to provide Bootstrap 5. Doing that just that much is probably going to it starts to already have an impact on what this looks like, just because we changed to the page builder theme. But we need to change each of these elements over into Bootstrap 5. If you go into edit mode, you'll start seeing warnings. Oh, that's not the warning I was concerned about, so that's fine. But let's go do the change. So I'm going to open this in a new tab here. We can convert the form to Bootstrap 5 and save. And I'll close that. We don't need, I'm going to get this documentation out of the way as well. The tab needs to be converted. So if you open this, I'm going to open that in a new tab so that we can take a look at it. In the settings of tab, the theme is set in the UI settings here. So we'll change that to Bootstrap 5 and save. And then finally, the user listing also exists here, and we need to go into the manage screen for that. And listings are a little bit different, require a little bit of explanation here. Listings are the Bootstrap 3, Bootstrap 5 is controlled by views, and it doesn't explicitly call out what is Bootstrap 3 and what is Bootstrap 5. He just so I'll provide that explanation here. The legacy view, which is a Bootstrap 3 view. And so this is the thing that needs to be turned off. And then you're going to want to turn on data table. Data table is the equivalent of the, the tabular view that legacy view provided for you. So, and there's some configuration options on it. You may want to investigate those as you turn it on to make sure your listing performs the way that you expect it to, with pagination and the way the buttons align and things like that. And there's also some new features like row CSS classes, which are very handy for formatting, but beyond the scope of what we want to talk about today. But uh, just notice that you have to turn off legacy view before any of these other views become available to you. So turn off legacy view, and then you can turn on any of these others that you want to. But probably the one you're going to want is data table view, or perhaps cards view, depending on how you had legacy configured. But when you'll save that as well. And so once you've done all of that, and I'm going to take this out of edit mode. All these will now render in Bootstrap 5. The form is rendering in Bootstrap 5. The listing has changed the way it's looked. It's now in a Bootstrap 5 look, as well as the tabs. So you would go through that process, change the theme, change all the modules that appear on that, check it out to make sure it works as you would expect, realizing that, and then you need to think about any CSS that you might have had on the page. Make sure it's rendering the way that you expect. And if you had any JavaScript on the page, make sure that it's working the way that you expect as well, because um, we have had anything that you do in JavaScript is custom to your environment, and you may be, we have had customers, for example, that formatted their rows by doing some JavaScript and looking for certain tags and certain values in order to provide highlighting or disablement or whatever that you might want to do. That's custom to your environment, and some of those tags in the HTML might be different, so your JavaScript may not work. So it might need some rethinking if you use some of the advanced features like JavaScript on the page. And yeah, and that's out of scope from what we provide. So it's necessary for you to review it and fix it and make sure your page works. But once your page works, you're good to go. You can go on to move on to the next one. All right. So um, the dashboard, more about the dashboard a little bit. It's bigger than just converting from Bootstrap. As you can see, we already have a few alerts that have things to do with other than Bootstrap, and so it's not just about Bootstrap 3 detection, but it will be important for that. Um, Future alerts will, as you apply new releases, you'll get additional alerts and the kinds of things that you should expect, for example, is we have some actions that are already marked as obsolete. Actions can exist in a large number of places um, throughout the modules, APIs, automations, and so they can be a little bit hard to find or know if you're using an obsolete action. So we want to make it the alert on the dashboard will tell you you've used this action, and it'll tell you where you've used it so that you can go and eliminate it. But we have a few that are marked as obsolete. They'll be um, uh, at some point removed from the product, and so we'll be using it to help you identify where those have been used. Um, so let's talk about one of these. If we one of these other kinds of alerts. First of all, let me clean up my workspace a little bit. We have this alert SQL user has necessary rights. I forgot to mention there's an eye icon over here. You can hover and see what this is all about. Um, and so this particular one is about um, when you connect a DNN instance to a SQL database, you give it a username and a password, and that username gives you certain rights within the database. If it doesn't have the necessary rights, then some of the things that we do during an upgrade, particularly, would fail. So it has to have a certain rights profile, and if you had that problem, it would alert you and tell you exactly how to fix it. So nothing to do with Bootstrap 3, but useful. We have the one about the SQL compatibility level, and um, let's just dig into this one, and it'll kind of help us illustrate the exception as well. So this is telling you that you should need to check the SQL database compatibility level. The database is currently on SQL Server 2017, which is also the number 140. And that is supported, but if you have higher SQL available to you, we recommend that you use it. Um, So this is kind of a funny thing about SQL. You can have SQL Server, a SQL Server version, for example, let's say 2019. If you had 2019 installed, you can SQL supports something called compatibility level. So you could be running at SQL Server 2017 or SQL Server 2012 level, and it kind of is providing limits. Um, so even though you have the higher version installed, you're imposing artificial limits to earlier versions. So this is warning that, hey, if you're using something bigger than if you have something bigger than 140 SQL Server 2017, you should be using it. So let's dig into the details of it. It explains that tells you what the minimum is and what the different versions correspond to, and it also tells you exactly how to fix it. So if you wanted to set it to SQL Server 2019, it's giving you the SQL to do that. We don't have a page to take you to do this, so instead of having a button to go there, it just says a button that says I completed this. We can try and fix this. So I'm going to go to SQL console and use that. Uh, and it tells us I must not have that later version. I probably have 2017 installed. So it's giving me an error saying the most I can do is 140. So this alert doesn't really apply to me. And so now it gives me the chance to illustrate. I've checked this out. It's not a problem. And I want to clean it up. So I'm going to mark this as an exception. We can just click the button, mark it as an exception. And that clears the alert. So now the alert is gone. It's shown as an exception. You can go back and understand. If you click into it, you can see the details about why it's an exception. Um, so you as an administrator, if you want to ignore something, you can mark it as an exception, put a reason in there, and it'll move over to that column and clean this up. All right. Um, Great time that if you have questions, any questions, would be great to get into the chat or the Q&A. I'm going to see if I can find. I don't know. Haven't been checking the Q&A here, so I'll put it up here. Okay, I see you don't have any open questions, but if you have any, it'd be a great time to do that. Kind of coming to the end of the topic here. Um, let's keep going. Um, just pointing out that it's not possible for us to automatically convert your system from Bootstrap 3 to Bootstrap 5. They're different. The old model was in Bootstrap 3. We added Bootstrap 3 to the page for you. Now in Bootstrap 5, the decision is that we don't load Bootstrap 5 for you. Your theme has to provide it. It's up to your theme to do that. So we can't control what theme you have or what theme you use. So this is something that requires you to do a little bit of thinking, and you have to do it individually. So can't do it automatically. Um, you can, as far as Bootstrap 5 themes, again, I've already pointed out that Page Builder theme is one that we provide, and it does do the work. Page Builder theme, if you like it, if it suits your purposes, it has a top menu and things like that. There are some configuration things. You don't have to accept Plant and App Green. You can color it how you want to with a primary color and an accent color. You can change the menu font, all that kind of dynamically, interactively. But so it's a good general purpose theme, and if you like it, you're welcome to use it, and it gets you to Bootstrap 5. If you don't, and there's a lot of people who don't want to use that theme, then there's a couple of options. So if you go to the DNN Marketplace, you can find themes that support Bootstrap 5. As an example, by the way, the link to that is store.dnnsoftware.com. you can look for themes. I'm just going to click on the theme button and bring up the first one that comes up here. So there is a theme called Glend. I'm just picking at random here. There's nothing special about this or any recommendation that I'm making. But if you pick a theme from the DNN store and you look, you can see that it has a tag Bootstrap 5. So this supports Bootstrap 5. I would fully expect that if you installed this theme, if you bought it and installed it, that it would work with our software. So you can buy one on the store. And then you can have a custom theme. So if you already have a custom theme, or if you want to have one made for you that looks exactly like, the layout, the setup that you want, you can use a custom theme. If you have a custom theme or one designed for you, you need to tell your theme developer that it needs to have Bootstrap 5 included in it. And so that's a conversation to have with your theme developer. And you can open a support ticket if you have questions about what that entails, or just look at what comes with Page Builder so that they can understand what needs to be there. But yeah, that's the solution for that. And yeah, recommended next steps. So all this goes towards, if you're not on version 1.28 yet, you get to 128 and then install the hotfixes. Start taking a look at the dashboard alerts, and kind of take an inventory of what Bootstrap 3 usage that you have. And again, I recommend that you start doing the remediation even before you try to get to the next major release. You can install a theme at any time. So if you don't have a Bootstrap 5 theme and you install a new one, it can exist side by side with your existing pages, and then you can start converting to that theme over time or as part of a project. All right. We are at the question and answer spot. So if you have a question about how this applies to you, be a great time to enter a question into the chat or the Q&A, or you can raise your hand and we can talk about it now. And while you're thinking about that, I'll just point out that we can also add these to the conversation at Low-Code Campfire on Friday, this same hour. You can see what other people are doing in regard to Bootstrap 3. Give us your opinions on the dashboard. We'll tell you a little bit more about where we're going with the dashboard and some of the alerts that are coming your way. And while I still have a little bit of time, I will mention one that is coming. If you have an entity, notice that there is the when you create an entity, you have the ability to choose between Bootstrap 3 and Bootstrap 5. When you save one of these, it creates the different forms and listings to work with the entity that you've created. And it creates them either with a Bootstrap 3 orientation or a Bootstrap 5. So if particularly, I mean, most people just skip right past this. This is most people are now, if you're doing new entities, you just allow it to default to Bootstrap 5. But if you have a Bootstrap 3 entity, these are going to show up in the different assets that it creates for you are going to show up in the dashboard in the counts. But we're going to add another alert here that points out obsolete Bootstrap 3 entities. And we're really going to recommend that you do those first, because the conversion for an entity is just to edit the entity and change the flag from Bootstrap 3 to Bootstrap 5 and save it, and it will automatically do all that work. It'll change the page and the module configurations over to a Bootstrap 3, excuse me, to a Bootstrap 5 for you automatically. And so it's more of a one-click change for all of those entities, for each entity one at a time. And then you can test them out, make sure that they still work for you, but that'll save you some. So that new alert will appear here in later versions, and you should be on the lookout for that. And I suppose it's worth mentioning that this switch right now at if in versions, if you're on version 1.28, the ability to switch from Bootstrap 3 to Bootstrap 5 is broken. I don't recommend that you try to do that. Wait for there'll be part of a cumulative hotfix in the next week or two, so that it might be more timely to fix those entity ones, waiting for the hotfix that will make that feature work correctly. Okay, since there are no questions, let's just say that we will continue the discussion on Friday. We're glad you spent this hour with us, and we will provide another low-code cafe topic in 1 month, and we hope to see you then as well. Please join us on Friday at Low-Code Campfire. Thanks all.